you, Debbie. Now, I just want to move on to, suppose, China-related issues here. But this was the BBC from 2020. Huawei, why it's being banned from the UK's 5G network. So we were being told at the time that this was a national security risk, that Huawei is snooping on every piece of data or voice calls and so on the mobile phone networks and so on. So Huawei eventually was banned, or at least Huawei equipment was banned from the domestic civilian 5G networks. So I just want to bring this on. This is the latest report from the Office of the Biometrics and Surveillance Camera Commissioner. This was released today. The report's called "The Use of Overt Surveillance Camera Systems in Public Places by Police Forces in England and Wales." Well, they are highlighting the fact that with respect to internal CCTV, this is CCTV cameras in police stations and so on, they asked the question, does your system have any cameras or equipment manufactured or supplied by surveillance companies outside the UK about which there have been any security or ethical concerns? So there are 47 police forces in the UK. I think 31 of them responded. And so 15 of them were using Hikvision cameras, 5 of them using Dahua cameras, 2 Honeywell, 1 Huawei, and 1 Nuo for internal CCTV. But for CCTV cameras that are operated by the police outside of police stations, it was 10 of the respondents were using Hikvision. Well, you can see the numbers there for yourself. So the question is, why is this a problem? Because, of course, the story that's being told is that Huawei and Hikvision and Honeywell and so on are hoovering up data. That data is being sent back to China, and that's a very bad thing, according to the mainstream press. But of course, nobody's questioning the scale of the surveillance that's being done by the police and by the security services, by the government and so on in the UK for the purposes of government and police in the UK. So related to this then is the latest announcement on satellites. And so I just want to bring on Skynet. Now, Skynet is the UK's defence swarm of defence satellites. These are low Earth orbit satellites. They're operated by Airbus. And Babcock has just been given a £400 million contract to run a sort of management centre for this. This is being issued under the Skynet Service Delivery RAP contract. So Skynet Operations Centre is going to deliver information to UK and allied forces around the world, enabling a battlefield information advantage anywhere, anytime. So the question is, what's this got to do with Huawei and 5G networks and so on? Well, look, let's just look at what Ben Wallace said in 2020 on this. It's crucial we continue to push the frontiers of our defence space ambitions, enhancing our military resilience and strengthening our nation's security. Then Alex Chalk, who's a defence minister, said this yesterday. The UK's next generation military satellite communication system will keep us at the forefront of this critical domain, and the work under this contract will bolster our resilience for years to come. But here's the key thing. A couple of years ago, I think it was 2021, the UK bought up shares. Well, they bought up a company called OneWeb, which was basically in administration or in bankruptcy at the time, and was offering a similar service to Elon Musk's low Earth orbit satellites, mainly for internet access. Alex Sharma at the time, who was the business secretary, said access to our own global fleet of satellites has the potential to connect people worldwide, providing fast UK-backed broadband from the Shetlands to the Sahara and from pole to pole. So what are we talking about here? We've got surveillance on 5G networks. We've got surveillance through cameras. Apparently that data all going to China. Then we've got military satellite swarms. We've got the UK government buying up a satellite company in order to provide internet access. Is that what this is all about? Well, not really, because if we go back to Ben Wallace, I think again in 2020, he said this: we will ensure that we embed dual use at the heart of our capability management processes, considering how we can share defence space capabilities and outputs with other government departments, including the security and intelligence services. as well as potentially with commercial users. So when they bought OneWeb, it was with one eye on defense and the other eye on commercial civilian applications. And so all this, David, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, but it seems to me that all this furore over Huawei over the last couple of years being involved with the 5G networks, and now the furore today over Huawei and other Chinese companies being involved over police surveillance infrastructure is really missing the point, because what we have here is a government and intelligence services and the police which are hoovering up absolutely huge quantities of bulk data for their use, and through a dual use system where we think we're using something which is purely for civilian use, but in fact is military in purpose.
Yes, and although there's a huge discrepancy in the volume of information that our government is collecting compared to information that another government, for example, the Chinese, might be collecting on us, the core difference here is it's for a different purpose. The Chinese are presumably trying to assess the threat, military, industrial, and diplomatic, that they might face to whatever plans they have from Britain, right? But our government's watching us. And it's very striking that although our government is the greater threat to our individual liberty, we stand about as much chance of finding out exactly what the Chinese are doing with our data as we stand of finding out what our own democratically controlled and very enlightened government are doing with the data. There is no control, there is no openness, there is only kind of the pretense that this exists.
Yes, and just to end this segment, again, this came up on the to my attention just before we came on the news, so we've got no graphic for this, but as part of the NATO defence ministers meeting, 18 European countries, including the UK, have signed a joint letter of intent to explore and develop a framework for improved surveillance from space through multinational cooperation and sharing of national space-based capabilities. So the level of surveillance is just going through the roof. Now, we're absolutely out of time, so we're just going to end on this. I've got two articles from the Mail here, and the theme is fear. And really, we've seen these types of headlines before, but I just thought they were quite incredible. Bird flu may mutate to kill more than 50% of humans who catch it as a result of unprecedented outbreak sweeping mammals, experts fear. That was the first fear headline yesterday. And the second one that I saw on the Mail yesterday was one of the world's deadliest diseases kills 9 in Equatorial Guinea. Fresh outbreak fears for incurable Marburg pathogen with up to 90% mortality rate. So we've got to be fearful of that as well, David. But that leads us into what?
Our closing song here, we've had songs many times from Brad Skismus, 5 Times August. We've got another Brad here from America, Brad Borch. And he's also providing some wonderful music which gets to the heart of the matter in terms of the liberties we're losing and what it means to stand up for them and fight back.
Let's...
Disobeyed the signs. You gave a stranger a smile, you gave a friend a hug, you shook a neighbor's hand, you took an unapproved drug. You seek different views and alternative visions. You don't trust the news, you make your own decisions. Cause you're not afraid enough. No, you're not afraid enough. You're made of tougher stuff. You're not afraid enough. It's all for your security. Just bow your head and bend your knee, cause you're not afraid enough. You take responsibility for your own health and the food you eat. You take care of yourself. You didn't take the pill, you didn't get the shot. You won't wear a mask, you won't do as you're taught. You won't toe the line, you don't ask permission. Without authority, you're not in submission. Cause you're on our bluff. You're not afraid enough. You wanna be free, we just can't let you. Something bad is out there, and it's gonna get you, 'cause you're not afraid enough. Who do you think you are? You think you're better than us. You act as if you're free. Get to the back of the bus. We can't have everybody standing their own ground. You got to be a victim. That's just how we keep you down. You won't apologize or ask to be forgiven for being straight or white or a man or a woman. You eat too much meat. You own a gun. You're just way too free, having too much fun. You don't follow directions. You're too self-reliant, too independent. You are non-compliant. 'Cause you're not afraid enough. No, you're not afraid enough. You're made of tougher stuff. You're not afraid enough. Keep trusting us for your own protection. Keep watching the news for your fear injection. 'Cause you're not afraid enough. You're not afraid enough. 'Cause you're not afraid enough. No, you're not afraid enough. 'Cause you're not afraid enough. You're not afraid enough. 'Cause you're not afraid enough of us.
Right, brilliant, David. Thank you very much. Thanks to David and Debbie for joining us today. We're absolutely out of time, so we'll be back in a few minutes on the members live stream. If you are a member, you can watch some extra, but otherwise we'll be back 1 p.m. as usual on Friday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.